Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, where we use gentle movement sessions to build strength, improve coordination, and increase mobility so that you move better and feel stronger. Today, we're going to be doing a Feldenkrais session. So grab a mat, lie down on your back, and let's get started. Today, we're doing a rotation lesson on our stomachs, where we explore how the carriage or positioning of the head affects the state of our muscles. By moving our legs to only one side of the room, with our head in various different positions, we can understand which muscles need to turn on and which muscles need to turn off to perform a specific movement. Then by thinking through the movements, before we do them on the other side, we can learn how to have greater control over our movements. Start lying on your back, scanning your body by feeling which parts of it are touching the floor and which parts are lifted away from the floor. Start by noticing which parts of your heels are touching the floor, then your ankles, your calves, the backs of your knees and legs, your bottom, your lower back, your mid-back and upper back. Which way are your shoulders touching the floor? Are they level? Your arms and your hands, the back of your neck, and your head. Notice the shape your body's making on the mat or the floor, and imagine the shape your spine's making. What does your spine look like as you lie here? How long is your spine? And feel how it runs from your pelvis up through your whole torso to the base of your head. Then roll over onto your stomach, placing one hand on top of the other so your forehead can rest on your hands. Let your feet and legs be slightly apart, then bend both knees, and with your knees still apart, let your feet touch one another so your shins are forming a pyramid. Then lower your feet down towards the right by sliding your left foot along the inside of your right calf, and then sliding your feet back to the center to the pyramid position. Then again, slide your feet down towards the right as you breathe out, then breathe in to return your feet to their start position. As you breathe out and your feet move to the right, feel how your pelvis shifts its weight to the right and you roll off the left hip. And feel as you do this how your stomach might shift its weight to the right, and also how far along your spine this movement might travel. Let your feet back down now and rest with your head turned to the left, so your right cheek is resting on the back of your top palm. Bend both of your knees again, with your feet in the pyramid position, then slide them to the right again, and then slide them back. Breathe out as you slide your feet to the right and then draw them back to the center. And feel what effect turning your head to the right has had on the way your feet move, the way your hips roll and your torso rolls on the floor. Which muscles soften for you to move your feet, and which muscles engage for you to move them back to the center, and how far through your spine you can feel the movement travel with your head turned to the left. Let your legs back down again, and then switch which hand is on top. Turn your head to the right so your left cheek is resting on the back of your palms. Then bend both of your knees again, with your feet touching one another so your shins are once again forming a pyramid. Breathe out to slide your feet down towards the right. Breathing in to slide them back. Breathing out, roll through the pelvis and feel how this movement travels up through your back and how the weight shifts through the front of your torso with your head turned to the right like this. As you move your feet down towards the right, feel what happens through your shoulder blades, how your ribs might move around your shoulder blades as your arms lie here. Some muscles might be lengthening as you lower down, then engaging as you bring your feet back up. And see if you can notice any differences between the way you do this exercise with your head turned to the left, to the center, or to the right. Then lower your legs down to the floor again. And then roll onto your back with your legs long. And just notice whether there's any difference in how you're lying on the floor now and how you were lying on the floor at the beginning of today's lesson. Then roll onto your front again. But this time, instead of placing your hands down in front of you, interlace your hands, turn your head to the left so your right cheek is resting on the floor. Then place your interlaced hands on your left ear. Bend both of your knees, with your knees touching one another now. So instead of your shins forming a pyramid, they're forming a tower. Then, as you breathe out, move your feet to the right, so the tower leans to the right, but your feet keep touching, which means your left thigh must leave the floor as your legs tilt to the right, and then it must return to the floor as your feet come back to the center. So your shins are now acting as windscreen wipers as your feet lower to the right and then return to the center. Feel your pelvis must roll to the right. Your torso must twist itself towards the right. Your ribs shift their weight. And you'll feel rotation all the way up through your lower back to your mid-back and your upper back. See if you can use the breath out to soften your body as you move your feet. Lower your legs back down to the floor. Take your hands off your ear. Place your hands beside your shoulders. And then slowly turn your head to the center. And just roll left and right on your forehead a few times to ease up the neck muscles, to ensure they haven't overworked or overstretched. Then turn your head to the right so your left cheek is lying on the floor. Interlace your hands and place them on your left ear, and then bend both knees. And repeat this movement of moving your feet to the right and then moving them back to the center. Once again, use the breath out to soften the muscles of your torso and neck as you lift that left thigh, rolling on the right thigh and hip to move your feet to the right and then back to the center. And make sure your hands are resting gently on your ear, not clasping down. Your elbows are relaxed on the floor, and you're feeling your ribs roll between your shoulder blades. Your ribs and shoulders are not a static brick. There are many joints that facilitate lots of movement through that area. Come back to the center, lower your legs onto the floor, take your hands off your ear, place them beside your shoulder, Then slowly turn your head to the center with your forehead resting on the floor, and gently roll your head side to side just a couple of times. And then roll onto your back and rest. Then just notice any changes that you might be able to feel in how you're lying on the floor now. How do your shoulders feel? Your upper back, your mid back, and your lower back? Your bottom and pelvis and hips? Your legs, your calves, your heels? Are your legs closer together or further apart than they were at the beginning? And how are your arms lying on the floor? And again, just notice the shape your back is making and your spine. Then, lie face down again. Again, with one hand on top of the other and your forehead resting on the back of your palms. Bend both of your knees with your knees slightly apart and your feet forming a triangle. And this time, you're going to move your feet to the left, but before you do that, just imagine the movement that your feet would do as your right foot slides down the left leg. Imagine how you would initiate this movement. Would you push with your right foot, or would your pelvis roll itself slightly at the beginning? Would the breath out initiate this movement? Or would it be your left foot moving to the left and your right foot following that organizes this movement for you? And now a few times, actually move your feet to the left by sliding your right foot down your left inside of the calf, then sliding it back. And how does doing this movement, in actuality, compare to doing it in your imagination? What's different about the way you organize to do the movement when you're actually doing it and when you're imagining yourself about to do it? Are the same muscles softening as you go down and working as you come back up? Let your legs rest. Turn your head to the right so your left cheek rests on the back of your palms. Then again, bend your knees and let your feet touch so your shins are forming a pyramid. And again, imagine moving your feet towards the left and then back to the center with your head turned to the right. Use the breath out, even in your imagination, as you prepare to move your feet to the left, and then imagine yourself bringing them back. And notice that your body is softening in a certain way as you breathe out and prepare to move. And then it's doing something different as you prepare to move your feet back. So now actually do the movement, lowering your feet and feeling that beginning of softening that happened through your body as you breathed out and prepared to move in your imagination is just the beginning of this movement, and the movement is the continuation of that very beginning of the movement. So by honing in on the very beginnings of the movement, it should make it easier to perform the actual movement. Let your feet lower back down to the floor now. Switch which hand is resting on top of the other and turn your head to the left so your right cheek rests on your palms. Bend both of your knees again, forming that triangle shape. And again, breathe out and imagine the beginnings of this movement of moving your feet to the left and then drawing them back to the center. As you breathe out, feel that your ribs soften, the weight starts to shift through your body towards the left, as though your feet are about to move. Feel what happens in your shoulders, in your neck, and in your jaw as you imagine the feet moving to the left. And then actually perform this movement of sliding your right foot down the inside of your left calf to move your feet to the left, and then sliding it back. Again, notice how different it feels lowering your feet to the left compared to lowering your feet to the right. This might have something to do with the amount of attention you paid to the very beginnings and the initiations of this movement. By imagining the movement first and focusing on exactly what was going on, it's made moving your feet easier. Let your feet lower back down now, and then lie down on your back, having a small rest. And just reflect upon the idea that when we understand much better the different parts of our body and the way they can all work together to perform a specific move, that we can perform the move that we're trying to perform with greater ease and greater control. Then lie face down again. Turn your head to the right with your left cheek resting on the floor. Interlace your hands and place them onto your left ear. Bring your knees together and bend your knees. So once again, your shins are forming a tower. And then in this position, figure out how you would go about easily moving both feet to the left, lifting that right thigh and rolling onto the left hip, and then moving them back to the center. How you would easily allow your shins to move like windscreen wipers with your feet together, and have this movement travel through your torso to move your feet over to the left and back to the center with your neck, shoulders, and jaw all relaxed. And now actually perform this movement a few times of tilting your feet to the left, then drawing them back to the center. And notice whether this is the same as in your imagination, or whether imagining it has made this movement easy. Your neck freer, your shoulders softer, or your ribs more able to shift their weight, even in this position. Come back to the center, lower your feet back down to the floor, take your hands off your head, and then bring your head back to the center, and then slowly turn your head to the left, so your right cheek rests on the floor. Once again, interlace your fingers, place your hands onto your left ear, bend both of your knees with your knees together. Then, breathing out, imagine how you would easily go about now moving your feet to the left with your head turned to the left. Feel how the breath out would soften your ribs. Your ribs softening would allow weight shift to occur through the ribs. It would allow your shoulder blades to relax, so your ribs could move around your shoulder blades. Your hands and wrists would be relaxed. Your jaw and neck would be free of tension. As your pelvis rolled and your leg bones rolled, so your feet could move to the left. And now actually perform the movement a few times of tilting your feet to the left and then drawing them back to the center. And notice whether thinking about the way you perform this exercise and thinking about the best way to perform it, having already done it on the other side, has made this movement easier to do than you thought it would be. or than it was on the other side. So how does having greater awareness of how you move give you greater control over your movements to make your movements easier? Come back to the center, let your legs go back down, take your hands out from on top of your head, turn your head slowly to the center, and then roll onto your back. Notice any difference in how you're lying on your back now. And just reflect upon the way this lesson used sensing your body and challenged you to understand the way you used your body to help you move better by planning your movements and picturing the successful completion of a difficult movement made easy. See if you can carry these concepts into the way you organize yourself to complete other activities in your daily life to find what other difficult things could be made easy. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.